Okay, it's time for my November fish room tour. Hasn't been a lot of changes in here since last month, but there has been a few. Basically, it's not a very big room. I wish it was bigger, but that's the case with, I think, everybody's fish room. So anyway, starting over here, I have a rack of 3 20 long tanks. I do have low light on most of these so that I don't have to deal with algae. There is quite a bit of glare in here, so I do apologize for that. But these here, I have one Calvus, which is, whoops, he's a little shy, which is right there. And I have 6 Bricardis in there. And I got all those off of Aquabed. Very good luck with Aquabed. So a 20 long, all my filtration in here is with sponge filters and with a linear piston pump from Gemco. This one here is also a 20. This one here is also a 20 long, and this is my new colony of Juletichromis reganii. The 2 larger ones I got from my son. He brought them from Manchester, Iowa when he came over for a vacation, and I picked up, I believe, 6 more on Aquabed. And they're doing very well. They have not spawned yet, but they're getting along well. Everything is going real well with them. This tank here, I used to have this up top, but there's more heat up top than there is down below. I don't heat the aquariums, I heat the room. And since these are white clouds, they're more of a cool water thing, so by putting them on the lower level, it works a little better. I'd like to get that one rosy minnow out of there, but it's hard to catch. But anyway, they have spawned in the past in the spawning mob. I haven't been doing that lately, so it's just a nice little colony of them. And I do have one Anubias that's actually doing quite well in there, and I do have more light on that tank. Next to that, I have a rack that holds a 40 breeder on top and a 37 tall on the bottom. And in the 40 breeder, these are my Juletichromis transcriptus colony, and they have spawned for me. There's 2 generations in here now. They're doing very well. They're just a neat fish. And also, there are a number of bristlenose Plecostomus scattered throughout the tanks also. The other thing I have in here is I have one Multifisciatus. It's the only one I have. I would really like to get more, but they're hard to come by, a little pricey, and he has these shells over here that he lives in. So that is working well with that. One thing else I want to mention, I went to these styler thermometers. I know they might be a little more difficult to read. They're old school, but the other ones, to me, are a little bit unsightly. Down here, I have my pair of Angels, and one's down there, and then I have the gold one up here. They go really well in this 37 tall. They really do like a tall tank. I do have slate in there. They laid eggs on the wall once, and they weren't fertilized, so I'm not sure I have a male and a female. If they could get them to spawn again, I could, hopefully have a better chance of finding that out. And on this one here, I have a 75 up top and another 40 breeder on the bottom. And the 75, I have my gold Severum. I have a pair of green terrors, which are getting pretty good size. He's starting to get the hump. And also I have an Oscar, which is really getting a lot of glare. There, that gets rid of some of the glare. And he is still compacted. I had a suggestion to give him peas, and I'm going to buy some of them today and start that regiment and see if I can't get him to clear up. Obviously the glass needs cleaned on this. This is Friday. I don't work today, and tomorrow is my water change day. Well, usually Sunday. So anyway, I do have a hang on the back filter in here, and that is strictly on there for biomedia for other tanks, so that if I set up another tank, I can transfer some ceramic stuff from them into another hang on the back filter. I have a bunch in the other room. There's the heater that I use. These oil heaters work better than others. They're not dangerous. They work well. They just radiate out heat from oil. I did put these polycarbonate tops on everything in here that I needed to, and they look real nice. They're a little pricey, but I do like them. This tank down here is a 40 breeder, and I have a colony of Altolamprologus fasciatus, which is that one right there. And I have a group of Altolamprologus compressiceps. I can get it to focus in right. Go back out. There he is right there. I think there's 4 of the compressiceps, and I think that there's 6 of the fasciatus. And since they're Lake Tanganyika cichlids, they do grow extremely slow. They're just very, very slow. I think that's why they're so expensive. So anyway, they're doing very well. The next rack I have is a 55-gallon rack. And on the top tank is my African Mbuna cichlids. I have really low light on this by using this light with a diffuser, and then going through that it cuts down on the light. I don't have any algae problems in there that way. They are doing very well. I don't know how many's in there, not a lot, probably 13 or so, something like that. Like I said, there's a lot of glare. I apologize for that, but this tank is going very well. I mean, they're always active. Nobody's getting picked on because there's plenty of places to hide. I thought about adding a few more fish, but there might be 18, I don't know. But I just don't want to put any aggression into this thing by adding anybody new, and these guys are doing very well. So the bottom tank down here, this is my catch-all. Anything that I have left that doesn't fit in any other tank. I have a firemouth fry that I got out of my pair. I have some giant danios in there, a number of black angels, marble angel. I do have one Goiter River rainbow that my mom had when she took her tank down. I took it. And then I think there's a couple of mollies in there too. So get this thing to focus in again. So anyway, that's just the tank that catches everything that doesn't have anywhere else to live. I did put live plants in there. I put some red cryptocorns in little pots. All it has in it is potting soil in the bottom, just dirt, and then a little bit of gravel on top, and some Mopani wood, and it's different than anything else I've done, and they are growing. I mean, they've grown a lot, so it works. One thing about cryptocorns, they don't take a lot of light, so that is done. The other thing I have is I have my beta, and he is living in my phosphate reactor tube. This one went bad because the fittings busted out, and it was getting to the point where you couldn't repair them very well anymore. So I took it out of the saltwater system, and that is where he lives. So I don't know, maybe I should put him in a bigger tank, but he seems to be doing fine in there. The next rack is the largest rack I have, and it has a 40 breeder, a 29, another 40 breeder, another 29, and then 2 10s on the bottom. And on top here, this is my planted live bearer tank. And it has some Anubias and some red cryptocorns and this other plant that I don't know what it is. The mollies in there, they have fry pretty regular. I don't see anything in there now. There's one of my little bristlenose again. And there are also some Serpae tetras in there. I think that's about it for what's in there. And there's another bristlenose there doing a really good job, and they are growing. They were really tiny when I got them. I got those off Aquabit. I also have one head and tail light tetra, which is right there. So that tank is doing well. I've had it for quite a while. I have a little bit of algae growing in there, but nothing too bad. I just thought I'd also note that all these tanks are getting tap water, and my tap comes out at about 8.2, so it's really hard water. So far everything you've seen is getting tap water. This one here, they do have a tendency to hide. This is my sunshine peacock colony. I used to have a colony of these. They had fry, and unfortunately I got something in the initial colony and I lost them all, which was sad because he was just gorgeous. So these are the fry, and they have grown up. There is a dominant male in there. There's a subordinate male, and I think there's 4 females. There's one of the males right there. And he's getting some good colors on him. He's finally starting to get to the size. So like I said, they're not lit up real well because I don't want algae problems in there. As you can see, I need to clean the front glass. So anyway, that's what I have in there. Okay, this is my Amazon Biotope tank. I'm getting a lot of reflections in here. I had a 40 breeder here, but the glass separated and started to leak, and I had this one in here at 29. It works out well. It's not as big, of course, but it works pretty good. In there I have, my angel, and it's growing, doing pretty good. I wanted something similar to a wild type, and that's what that is. I have this little tetra, and I'm not sure exactly what kind of tetra it is. Maybe some of you know. I have my pencil fish, and that's about it. I do have a couple of bronze cories in my quarantine tank down here that will be moved in there after they spent 2 weeks in quarantine. So just focus back in. So anyway, it's doing well. I do have a hang on the back filter in the back that has Sarah peat pellets in it, and I try to keep the pH on this one a little lower at about 7. Get rid of that. This one over here is a 29. I do have an Anubias in there. It's doing okay. Oh, there's also some cryptocorns down in the bottom. Some rosy barbs for movement, and there's a pair of firemouths in there that have spawned for me a number of times. And I do have a separator I have to put in after they spawn because he is pretty mean. These two down here, of course, are just quarantine tanks. And when I quarantine stuff, I do use from Aquarium Co-op. I use the General Cure and the erythromycin and the Icax combination. It seems to work quite well. Haven't had any problems with it lately. And this is the one that I've been setting up recently. This is a 150 tall. I bought it new. It's coming along real well. I rearranged my plants a little bit. I ran the jungle valves along the back, starting at this log going left, so that eventually I'm hoping they reach the surface, but the tank is 31 inches tall, so I don't know. I do have a couple of Anubias. This one's on a piece of driftwood. This one's actually on a rock. And, you know, the plants are doing okay. That one's making new leaves. My wisterias have opened up some, and I'm getting a little bit of new leaf growth on them. The other thing that I have in here is I bought some Amazon swords. The big leaves are dying back, but I am getting some new leaves coming in from the center. There's 2 of them there, and there's also one slipped in back behind this log back here. And what I have in here is I have, get focused in, come on. There he is. I have a Plecostomus who's doing a really good job. I have a small school of Neon Tetras. And I have a little Gold Angel. There it is. Come down here on this side. And there is my little Gold Angel. So I like the way this tank is coming along. It's looking good. My end goal for this thing is to put discus in it, but I want the plants to be taller. I want it set up for 6 months before I do that. For filtration, I'm using a canister filter by JBJ. It comes out of there and then goes into the spray bar. This one here, I'm actually using water out of this tub, which comes out of my RO unit, and I season it in there, and when I do a water change, that's what I use. So I'm maintaining this one at between 6 and 7, and I'm going to try to keep it probably closer to 6, so that I can have that for my discus. So anyway, that's the newest addition to this room. I think it looks really well. It's a big tank. It allows me a place to sit on the end. I just finished putting all my polycarbonate tops on. They look very well. They do very good. They've cut down on the humidity in this room too. So anyway, that is my update, my fish room tour today. And it is first part of November. I like to do one a month. And obviously if anything changes, I'll add more to this. So that is my update for today.